We want to bring emotions that are great. And I'm not saying that anger and sadness and fear and anxiety, they all have a place in our life, but it is for a brief moment, when you face fear, when the adrenaline just shoots up, but then it has to come down. But if you're constantly living in this state of emergency, which is freeze, fight, light on, then your body will fall apart. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Soulful Intuitive. I wanted to thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing, and I would recommend that if you share our channel with your family and friends, if you like the content and you think they will like it and benefit from it. Today, we're going to have a bit of a discussion about the podcast that I recently listened to, Dr. Joe Dispenza, who was a guest on this podcast, which is called The Diary of a CEO. And he was talking about his tours. Joe Dispenza is very famous, and his main body of work concentrates on proving scientifically what meditation does to the brain. And if you can change your brain and the way you think, you'll change your body and your life and everything that comes with it. And he works with many doctors, he works with many neurologists, and he goes all around the world and has a huge community following him and learning from him. He is an academic, and it's very interesting to listen to him. If you guys have a few hours that you want to just chill and learn something new on your own or with your loved ones, then go ahead and log on to the Diary of CEO and watch this interview. So what I took away from, the usual stuff that everybody is familiar with, which is, when you are changing your vibe and you're changing your thoughts, then your life will change eventually. And so aside from those topics that we have covered in the past, and we will always cover because it is something we live with every day, the host asked him, okay, I'm the kind of a person who wants to help everyone. I like to help my family and friends because I'm a man of service. And when I see my loved ones in pain or repeating a certain pattern over and over again, I want to run in and help them. So how do I do that? And Dr. Dispenza said, well, let's say someone's having a complete meltdown. They're angry. Something has happened to them. And all they want to talk about is how angry they are, just that emotion. But that emotion of anger is caused by something that's happened in the past. That's why they are just going on a cycle, telling you over and over again what happened, how that person made them angry, or that situation is infuriating, and how angry they were and how angry they are. And like every time they think about them, their blood veins are about to burst. So he said, instead of giving them a lecture, which, let's face it, we usually do. Women are better at it where they listen, but men are usually jump in to give you solutions. And he said, don't do that, because they're just not, as long as they're caught in their emotions, they're never going to hear you. So what you want to do is you want to do an activity, something that you've done with this person in the past that brought you joy. Whether it's taking a walk or watering the plants or watching your favorite TV show or just talking about something funny from the past or something, doing like a physical activity in terms of maybe doing a little soft cardio, maybe go to a yoga class, maybe even go to a restaurant. But get moving, do something instead of talking. Because as long as you're talking, they're not listening. And as long as they're not listening, they're going to talk about their emotions. And their emotions connect them to the past. And as long as you talk and stay in the past, talk about the past and stay in the past, you're going to create your future, which is a product of how you felt about something in the past. Because no one's in the present. Because all of that anger stems from something that's happened in the past. And by focusing on that emotion, hence the past, you're going to predict your future. So your future is going to be also something that will bring you more of that negative or undesired undesirable emotion. So do something. And it resonated with me because I have a lot of friends whom I love, and they usually call me when they need to talk. And when I say they need to talk, it's usually something that's happened and made them feel a certain way, and they want to go over it, which is fine. You go over it, you explain what happened, and then you as a friend or a loved one, you sympathize, you listen. But if you notice, then they keep going to the first of the paragraph and do it again. First of the paragraph and do it again. So they just ruminate and they cycle, but they don't see it. And if you say that, oh, you just told me that you're cycling, they're going to get more angry. So don't do that. Don't make my mistakes because, oh, I do this. And because I'm seeing a pattern. I'm seeing a pattern of behavior. I've seen what that person that I know very well has done in the past and what they're creating and bringing forth for their future. So I'm definitely going to take his advice, and I'm definitely going to go, okay, you know what? Let's go for a walk. Oh, okay, you know what? Let's just make some pizza. You know what? Let's just help me do the laundry. I don't know, like something that they will enjoy, not that. But even sometimes when you become active, you just distract yourself. And that breaks the cycle, breaks that emotion. So then when they're no longer stuck in that emotional state, then you can maybe sprinkle the seeds of something new. Because as long as they're stuck in that emotion, they're never going to hear you or anyone else. They're just vibing. Their vibration is there. And another interesting thing that he said was, you cannot ever change anyone unless their vibration changes. And their vibrations won't change until they are no longer stuck in that emotional cycle. So let's say some people who we know, we all have people in our lives who are always sad. We have some people in our lives who are always angry. Or we have some people in our lives who are always anxious. They can never sit down, and there's always something that is bringing them worries and just that uneasiness. And also we have some people in our lives who are just happy. They're happy in the morning, they're happy at night, they're happy in the middle of the night. Being happy, great. I always ask people who are always happy, what's your secret? How did you get like that? And most of the time they tell me, oh, I had this kind of a childhood, I had this kind of appearance. My outlook in life is, and then they tell me. And then, for example, I'm going to give you a couple of examples so then you can bring that in your life and apply it to people around you. So let's say you're talking to someone who got a divorce a couple of years ago, but every time you sit down with them, he or she are talking about the person they divorced. Even though the divorce is over, it happened a long time ago, they've all moved on, and yet as soon as they start talking about that person or the divorce or the breakup, you can see the emotion on their face. And that's when they go back to the past. They're no longer present, they're no longer with you. And by swimming in the pool of the past, they sure are going to bring those emotions forward for their future. So you can guarantee that they're not going to wake up tomorrow feeling great. They're going to wake up tomorrow feeling sad or feeling angry or feeling afraid. Some people always tell you, growing up, I always felt unsafe. I always, was afraid of my mom or dad or grandma or grandpa or someone that brought chaos to their lives. But that happened in the past, yet you interact with those people and they're so timid. You snap and they jump because they're stuck in that emotion. And that was such an eye-opener for me, because I am going to really bring that into my life. And even when I try to ruminate, I will distract myself by getting up and do something, which I usually do. It's very rare for me to just sit in an emotion and wallow where I get up and I start doing something, like if it's summertime, I'll water the plant and I attend to the house and I do my breath work. And God, I love breath work. Breath work has really saved me some bad moments, and just anytime that I feel down and anytime I feel overwhelmed and anytime I feel disconnected, all it takes is like 52 breaths and boom, I'm back in the now. And I actually want to recommend to all of you who are in relationships with either your spouses or you live at home or your roommates, because conflict happens when you are interacting with other people, or your coworkers, is whenever you're stuck in a certain argument or a certain place where you feel unheard, or when you feel angry, or when you feel betrayed or insulted, just go find somewhere and do a quick breath work. And that breath work, just like that, breaks that cycle, breaks that attachment that you had to that feeling that you were just so tightly holding on to, that I am feeling that. You made me feel that. You're always acting that. So that makes me go that. And you can go on and on and on for hours and days and weeks, and nothing will change. You will just get more of that. And when people tell you I'm angry, they never tell you that I love being angry. They're telling you I'm angry because they want to get rid of it. And yet by focusing so much on that, they will bring more of that undesirable, that uneasy emotions into their lives. Yeah, just break that attachment to that emotion and to their past, because that they're talking about something that happened yesterday or last week or last year or 10 years ago. Yet it's as if it's just happening now because, well, that's how the brain works, right? And I was talking to my client the other day and I was talking about something from a couple of years ago, and as I'm telling her, because she'd never heard it before, I started tearing up, and I had to stop myself. I'm like, why am I telling her this story? This story has happened. It's it's gone. The story is gone. I already went to therapy. I already talked to people about it. Why am I repeating it? And by the way, why am I making myself sad at 11 a.m. in the morning when I can talk about other things? So I had to shift my conversation. I said, you know what? You said something about an illness, and I said something that was a little dramatic and maybe upsetting, but life is beautiful. You just had a grandchild. You were telling me what a blast it is and what a joy it is to love your grandchild. You've always heard about it, you just never experienced it. And even though you heard about it, you were never ready to feel this amount of love, this amount of joy. So just like that, we changed the topic. But for you, any of you guys out there who are fix-it ladies or fix-it men who love to service others and want to be there as a shoulder to cry on, the perfect way to stop anyone crying after they told you their story, because let's face it, you have to validate first. They tell you what happened, but as soon as you see, oh, it's looping, okay, you gotta get up, you gotta do something. Okay, let's just go browsing something. Let's play that song for me that you like to play. Let's watch that movie. Let's chop something and bake together. I don't know, something that he or she enjoys, and you kind of tag along. And by shifting the emotions, things change. And another topic that they were talking about, which I really liked, was how when people share their stories of how changed their lives by changing the way that they think and their beliefs, and share that with others in a very genuine way, just that genuine interaction and share of stories is a catalyst for the audience to think about it seriously and go and maybe do the same thing. And that's why I really was loud and excited about sharing breathwork, because somebody shared breathwork with me and it really did magical shift and switch in my life, that I shared it with my partner, and I shared it with my friends, and I shared it with my family, and I shared it with anyone who wanted to do it. And the moments where a friend of yours messages you and say, I've been doing breath work because you shared that video and now I am addicted to it, it makes me feel good. Or when your friend tells you, you're right, our words create a reality, so we have to be just careful of the words and good words, bad words, words that we should never use, words that we should use often, because they carry emotions. Because we want to bring emotions that are great. And I'm not saying that anger and sadness and fear and anxiety, they all have a place in our life, but it is for a brief moment, when you face fear, when the adrenaline just shoots up, but then it has to come down. But if you're constantly living in this state of emergency, which is freeze, fight, flight, fawn, then your body will fall apart. And we all know how our bodies will fall apart. And if you look around, if you turn on the TV or turn on the radio or you go on YouTube or other social medias, and you're following certain trends or certain ways that news is delivered, then you see that it kind of just keeps you in this constant state of tense. You just feel tension. And when you feel tension, your brain and your heart and your body, they're not really working together. So therefore, you're easily controlled. You're controlled by your emotions, but also others can control you. They can trigger you. If somebody can trigger you, they can control you. And when they can control you, they can do what they want you to do. So you're no longer living your own life. You're no longer being authentic. You're living somebody else's life or somebody else's wishes for you as how you should live your life. I want to wrap this up. I don't want to go on and on. I just wanted you to bring this way of active listening, but also a way to break that attachment to certain emotions that us or our loved ones are really familiar with, and they're just stuck there, and we keep telling them, don't be sad, don't talk about that third person, don't talk about that event, but that's over, but like think about good things. So we can say all these things, but unfortunately they keep going back because they're stuck in that emotion. And this was a very good suggestion, and I hope that you use it and you spread the news with your friends and family and loved ones and see the results. Thank you very much, and I will see you in our next episode. Bye.